Welcome to a new episode of Outside the Panels with your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes.
Everyone to another episode of Outside the Panels. I'm your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes, and joining me this time, back into the squared circle of the comic book panel, it is none other than DK writer and creator, the fantastic Mr. Anthony Stokes. Anthony, it's been a dog's age, sir. I keep seeing you all over Twitter sharing this and that and the other. How's things going, my friend?
It's going good. Yeah, I think it's been a year. It was Decay 2 I was
Right.
on here for. I'm doing good, man. I'm having a lot of breaks. I think a lot of things swinging my way lately, so that's a good feeling.
Cool. Well, before we get into your new book, how did Decay go? Were you pleased with how it went and how it ended up being?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was got 5 issues done. You know, we got it funded every time, and then it's great to have it in the back catalog as well. So I have no complaint.
In the process, you've been quite prevalent on Twitter. I'm not joking. I see your name promoting indie stuff and Kickstarter stuff left, right, and center. It's good to see you kind of being so vocal about that. Why is it important to be that way?
To be vocal, or just
to be vocal about indie books and Kickstarters in general. I see you kind of promoting the hell out of lots of different things.
You gotta get your name out there. You have to be somebody. It's nice that we haven't talked in a year, and then you're able to keep with me through Twitter or what have you. But it is important just to keep your name in people's mouths and keep the train rolling, which I've been doing, man. I think the last time I talked to you, I've made like 5 comics since then. So we're just moving, chugging on along.
Well, I think the thing that impresses me about your Twitter interactions is how supportive you are. It's not like a kind of like, hey, look at me, this is my book. You're very. I've seen loads of tweets where you're like, shoot me out, show me work, let's promote type of thing. And I think that's really important. It seems to me you've got this idea that there's room on the racks to grab the reader's attention, right? It's not just a support me and that's it. I think that's quite a. Not all heroes wear capes, Anthony. So I think it's quite a. I don't see DC promoting Marvel.
No, well, that's direct competition, but no, I think one thing that I think has changed since like the last time we talked in the last year. I think I came here like May. It probably was. Is that now I have like this really big network of people, and I have my co-writer, not on this, but just a person like Chris Moses, Richard Fairgray, Charlie McKelvey, Pat Shan, just some guys to name. And these guys help me get better, and I truthfully believe that. I actually believe it is more of a competition than some people think, and I think people hear the word competition. Yeah, they hear the word competition and they think it's a negative connotation, but we're competing to be the best, but we're also trying to help other people become their best. And then as a community, if we all help each other get better, we will then make better books and presumably make more money and more connections, stuff like that.
So it's like a Royal Rumble of comic book creators, is what we're saying, right? Who's going over the top rope? Don't let your feet touch the floor.
That's a good callback to the whole wrestling thing. But I think I look at it more like a football team. Okay. There's first, second, third string, but ultimately everybody is working together to get better as a collective.
Okay, cool. Just as long as you're the quarterback, right?
As long as I am the quarterback, yeah.
Speaking of football, did you enjoy the Super Bowl last time around?
No, I'm an Eagles fan.
You're an Eagles fan, aren't you? That's right. I was going to say.
I was there.
Well, yeah.
I was at the game, and it was very painful. Obviously, it's one of the most painful moments. Like sports heartbreak #1, and then what's worse is that we're at halftime. And I'm like, we're getting #2, like, oh my goodness, we're about to get #2. I'm about to witness the Super Bowl in person, and then it just collapses. But I had a bit of depression, but now I'm excited for the season again. I'm recovered.
I think I think my unpopular opinion, hashtag unpopular opinion, I think Jalen Hurts should have got the MVP.
I mean, he was incredible. I didn't know you I didn't know you were an American football fan.
Oh man, I'm a Dolphins fan from the 80s, man. I've been there with you guys. We're watching the Randall Cunninghams, the Bobby Bristol,
Yeah.
you know, the Jim McMahons when he went over there, the Fridge when he played defensive tackle. In fact, the Fridge was better for the Eagles than he ever was for the Bears. So, you know, I remember Mike Quick, you know, did the spin move catch and everything was great, and then he did it again and broke his leg. Great, well done, fantastic. You know, Keith Byers.
I love the intersection between sports and comics, and I mean that's also plays in the Tapper Dive. I really want to make a football comic book. But
yeah, if you do, count me in. Put me in, coach. Put me in.
You know what? You might end up in the comic book. We might be able to work something out.
I thought Juju Smith is not catching that ball. Do not commit pass interference. Let it, because I thought, well, you know what? If you pass interference, it's ball at the 1 yard line. Doesn't commit pass interference, which was a dodgy call to start with.
Yeah.
Then Juju doesn't catch that ball. The clock stops, and then you've still got your timeouts. As it was called a penalty, first down. You have to use your timeouts, and then you don't have time to move the ball. So for me, I'll say, right, let Juju catch the ball, man. Because that way, at least you got your time and your timeouts. And the way Hurts was played, you could have moved the ball downfield, definitely. So that's my take on the whole thing.
It's bittersweet because, like, I feel like I witnessed like one of the best performances by a QB of all time. I mean, he had literally one play that he messed up and he went back and scored. It's like you take that one play away, he had essentially a perfect game, and I got to witness that. But and I guess the thing is like, I guess the question is, can your quarterback win a Super Bowl? And we know that that's the case with Jalen Hurts. Like, at least you answered that question, theoretically. But
I mean, 400. I forget the stat line now, but it was something crazy. Like he compiled 426 yards out of 479 yards of total Eagle offense. So in my head, Mahomes isn't throwing more than 200 yards that game, and he gets the MVP. Really? I know who's the most valuable player.
That's how it goes, though. Yeah. I think it almost works. I think it's almost worse to lose and get the MVP. Like, not that it's a participation trophy. Like, it's not, because he was incredible. And Mahomes was really, really, really good too. You consider the fact that he was injured, he was banged up. But I don't know. I think it adds insult to injury. So I'm just ready for the new season.
Well, we've got two, and as long as he stays healthy, we'll take anybody on, at least offensively. Yeah. There was one losing quarterback in Super Bowl history that won the Super Bowl MVP.
I can't remember.
I think his name's Craig Dawson, Denver Broncos quarterback, years ago. I think that's his name. I'd have to go Google it. Anyway, enough football. Yeah, it's off season. Right. It's off season. We don't want to talk about football. We need to talk about your new project. We've got what have I got? Shall we have a look at the Kickstarter? Where is it at? There it is.
Absolutely.
We'll get thanks to your fantastic work, we do have a video to watch. So here we go. We are recording on the 28th of July, so this Kickstarter has been open just a day already, is that right?
Yeah, just a day. Day.
And as you can see from here,
you're quite behind.
Sorry.
Oh no, I'm just saying. Like I looked at how far away the bar was from where I wanted to be.
Yeah. So here you go. You are currently, you're asking for $3,500. You are currently sitting at $3,044 after 1 day. That is bonkers popularity. How does that make you feel?
It's good, man. It's good. Like I haven't had this easy. I mean, presumably we get the other $500.
Oh, yeah.
Within hopefully within a week. But this would have been the easiest campaign. And I think what I realized about myself is I'm always like, my thing right now is I almost feel like I started making comics when I was like 26, which is still young, relative. But of course, you have your own expectations. You have, things you want to do. So
I
I feel
don't
like
I don't like how you said young and then looked at my grey beard there.
I didn't look at it.
You could be like that about it.
You're projecting. But I feel like I've been making a catalog. I've been just focused on making comics, and I haven't really focused on like, all right, if I had one campaign a year, I could like intricately plan out every day and all that stuff. So I think I might be handicapping myself a little bit, but like to see this campaign doing as well as it has, it's been really nice.
Cool. Excellent. Let's take a look at the video and we'll see where we go from there. Here we go. Wow. All right. I'm very impressed. I'm loving this. So we get get the gist. It's a wrestling book. Fill in the blanks. Who's who and what's what.
The main character's name is Domino. He's wanted to be a wrestler since he was like 3 years old, and he grows up and he finds that he's kind of being gatekept by the older wrestlers, kind of like the legacy wrestlers. This guy named Randy, who I modeled after. Oh my God, I'm so tired. Deion Sanders, like
Deion.
A little bit, because I love the Jerry curl. Like,
all right, okay, yeah.
Deion with the baseball cap and Jerry curl. Oh, it's amazing. And you think about like how much bravado he had, how much energy he brought. Do
the dance.
So he gets screwed over by the commissioner of the league. That's kind of like a Vince, kind of like Dana White is a big inspiration as well. I'm kind of pulling from multiple sports. I'm pulling from it's wrestling, but it's also kind of UFC, kind of boxing.
Yeah, it's a lot more violent than your traditional AEW or your WWE. There's a lot more physicality to it.
This is a world where like the kayfabe doesn't exist. It's just whatever is happening on the stage is like how people really feel. And then also there's a sci-fi element where the stage can basically change depending on the fight or whatever. So there's also a sci-fi component just to keep it as visually interesting as possible. I wanted something that was really going to make it stand out.
Cool. So a must for the wrestling fans, the diehard wrestling fans. There's been a couple of wrestling books over the last few years. Over the Ropes is probably the one that kind of people remember the most. What is it you think that makes wrestling and comic books go together?
I think you look at like wrestling is almost like the nerds sport, and I mean nerds in terms of like being like fanatical, like the overlap between like loving pop culture and loving sports. I feel like it is wrestling. I mean, like, I like football, you like football as well, but I don't think there's a huge where you look at wrestling, and I think it's because when you look at the sports, it's about narratives, right? That's the thing. So with the NBA, people wanted Celtics versus Lakers because they have a historical rivalry, and they both lost in the last round. So you have the Heat and the Nuggets, and it's like, well,
who cares?
Happy for the players, but it's not as interesting as it could have been. But wrestling is the most interesting scenario every time, and I think that's why it appeals to me, and I think that's why it appeals to other people.
It's a great shout. I sometimes catch WWE Raw. We have Raw, and we have access to AEW over here as well, and I catch the odd show every now and again, and I used to be a huge Bret the Hitman Hart fan. My ex-wife used to love The Undertaker. So
that's not about,
Yeah, well, I remember when he got put in the casket and she was absolutely in tears. I was like, right, you've taken it too far now. Still, but the reason I mention it is because you're absolutely right. It's a narrative. It's a story. In comic books, there's a good guy and a bad guy. In wrestling, there's a good guy and a bad guy.
Exactly.
And every now and again, there's a heel that turns one way or the other. I mean, Razor Ramon lost his cool when he became a good guy. Who cares about Razor Ramon, right? Razor's God rest his soul, was always a bad guy. He's a good bad guy. You know, you want to see him succeed as a bad guy. Same with Shawn Michaels. You don't want Shawn Michaels to be good. You want him to be the cheeky upstart type thing, you know. But well, hey, what can I say?
And
So,
what you're seeing is real quick. I'm sorry. What you're seeing is somebody about to do a heel turn. Like you're seeing somebody who's about to commit to being, the bad guy and embracing everything that comes with that. And then that's what the further issues are going to be,
So I mean, like, so you mentioned you draw inspirations. I remember when Brett got absolutely screwed over by Vince McMahon and lost his belt to Shawn Michaels, and that was it. Brett was on the skids after that. He was on his way out. There was nothing Brett could have done. And he ended up being the heel for a while, right? And then leaves to go to WCW. Man, that's old, isn't it? WCW. Better not say that too well. All right, let's have a look at the book. But there it is.
You might want to be careful because
yes. All right, don't worry. I'm only going a few pages in.
Okay, cool.
So before we go further, we will say that the book is for
mature
an adult readership. Right? Well, don't be getting little Tommy this thinking, well, he's dressed up. Yeah, little Tommy will get more than he bargained for if he buying this book. But we're in all ages show, so we're not going to go too far down those lines. Great cover, second great cover. Love that one. It says quickly moving past and absolutely no. There we go. How did I miss that? There we go.
That's what I was trying to warn you
about. So it's a black and white book. We get to see some of the action here. Little Domino having his own, fun taking out on the teddy bear and stuff.
I think the composition here by the artist was incredible. This is one of the earlier scenes that I came up with. I'm thinking about turning this into a cover at some point.
Yeah, I agree. The cover's fantastic. The cover, the art all the way through really rocks. Who's your artist on this project?
It's Emilio Utrera, I think. I don't know exactly how to pronounce his last name, but no, he's been great. I think when some artists, you can look at a black and white book sometimes and think like you shouldn't look at a black and white page and notice the color missing.
Exactly.
Right. I think if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and I feel like people, I had the thought like, should I go back and color it? But one, I don't think it would look great because it was drawn to be black and white as well. But I'm also like, I think it adds a grittiness. I think it adds a grittiness that the comic has. I think it maybe gives like an old school kind of feel. And I think it works, and it was a conversations that I had with myself and other people like, well, do you want to make a black and white comic in 2023? And then now I feel vindicated,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, do you know what kind of really sells it for me? The emphasis of this is fair enough. I've been privy to some of the, we've got the big backdrop cover behind us, of course. What I will say is that you can tell the guy's African American. You don't need it to be. I didn't see that straight away. It's like, yep, I know who that is. I know who she is. I know who Iris is, and I know who the rest of the characters are. And I think that's a skill both from yourself, Anthony, as a writer, to kind of help Emilio paint those pictures. Like, say, right, this is a guy. This is what he looks like. This is what I see. And then Emilio goes in and draws Domino, and you're like, yep, that's the guy, and that kind of. So I think that's a credit to yourself. Well done for kind of sticking to your guns on that one, man. Because it'd be easy, wouldn't it, to kind of paint yourselves into a corner somewhat. So no, very good, well done.
Thank you. No, absolutely, and I think people. It's also like I don't like when people say you can bring up the point that maybe black and white comics don't sell as well, right? Like you can voice that, and that's debatable. Mangas, if you consider manga's outselling Western comics.
Yeah, so
it depends on what you think, right? But what I don't like is when people are like, it's not going to sell because it's black and white. Like when people tell me, basically, I never like hearing, you can't do something, kind of This is a very personal story. This might be the most personal story I've met, because in doing comics, I feel like I've run into a lot of situations where it's like, because I'm young, like I'm turning 30. I'm turning 30 in 2 months.
Stop looking at my hair when you say.
I'm not looking. I'm looking at
you. Son of a. I'm joking.
But no, I got you. So, but it's a lot of times it's like, who are you to have this opinion or act this way because you're young, or you're and it's like, look, if you think I'm being a jerk, don't let age be a factor. Don't try to tell me I can't do certain things, because like I feel like, frankly, I've had a very good start to my career. I think I've had a good start to my career than a lot of people. So I'm allowed to have opinions. Everybody should be allowed to have opinions. And this book was actually made at kind of the height of my frustration with the comic industry. And it's a very angry book. It's a very angry, like, just fed up book. And then just the main character being like, I'm sick of, like, you're not going to gatekeep me, like I'm too talented to be gatekept,
Yeah, I see that. And you've explained it really well. I kind of agree with you. I think first of all, opinions are like noses. Everybody's got one.
Yeah.
And I'm super laid back to the point where I genuinely, my opinion, ironically, to use that term, is that there are very few categorically right opinions, and there are very few categorically wrong opinions. Generally speaking, there's just different. And then it's who you listen to, it's how you form your own, and how you proceed to show yours or display yours. And I think you're doing a great job. I think the fact you've been so successful over the last year and a half or so. Now you get this book coming out, as you mentioned, personal story. I never thought about it from that point of view, from a gatekeeping perspective. Gatekeeping exists in all sorts of environments. Comic books, when people go for jobs and they think they're not going to get the promotion because they can't be replaced in the job they already do, and all that sort of stuff. It kind of, it's a form of gatekeeping. It's a form of keeping that person there rather than letting them be there. So I think that's a really good shout. Really, really good shout. I didn't think about it until you mentioned it there. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, if we disagree, right? That's fine. Like we disagreed on the rating on my comic book last time we talked. But we kept it respectful, and I feel like the worst thing you can do is invalidate somebody's opinions because of their circumstances. Like, and again, whenever I give an opinion, I'm usually like, as it pertains to me, right? Like, don't tell me what I can and can't do, or don't try to like shove technique or whatever in my face. But you should be able to rebut. There's a lot of things where people just say, if your rebut is, this is the way that things have always been done, that's terrible.
I agree with you.
Like, what was it? It was I asked about charging signatures. Asked for charging signatures at a convention. That kind of caused a stir, because I was new. I've been making comics that was my second or third convention, and everybody was like, well, you're a nobody. Who's going to pay for your signature? And it's like, well, you're a nobody. That's not how it's done. Blah blah blah. It's like, why don't you tell me that that's traditionally not what's being done? Or why don't you say, like, okay, this person is supporting you, and or even say, like, that makes it really clunky. It adds another step, and like, don't call me a nobody. If I'm a nobody, then why do they want my signature?
Yeah, exactly.
These are the kind of conversations you get into where you're just attacking this really backwards logic, and then you're being disrespectful.
See, I've got two words for you. Two words that make up one name. Are you ready? Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane.
He was one of the guys who very much have similar opinions as yourself when it came to working for Marvel. And he's very much like, don't tell me what to do. If I want to do this, I'm going to do this. And when Marvel said no, he went, all right, I'll just go with my mates and create Image Comics.
Probably, I mean, Robert Kirkman as well. It's so weird to me that, like, all the people that we like hold up so high and hold up in such high esteem,
and Rob Liefeld.
I thought a lot. It's just you're wrong. I literally thought a lot, but I didn't say anything. But you hold them up on this high pedestal for being unique, for being dangerous, for being bold, for being brash in some cases. And then when somebody comes in and internalizes that stuff, it's like you're wrong. Now, granted, you're not Robert Kirkman, you're not these guys, but I think I'm a better writer than it. But
just to interject a little bit there, Anthony. Back then, they weren't Robert Kirkman, and they weren't Todd McFarlane, right? So, I hear what you're saying, but it's like hindsight's 2020. We can turn back and say, "Wow, Todd, whoa, way!" But and I've interviewed the guy twice, so for me, it's like he's massive now. Put him on Amazing Spider-Man 298, and he's just the next guy in line. You know what I'm saying? Same with Jim Lee. Mark Silvestri was killing it on X-Men. He leaves X-Men, and Jim Lee gets it. And then up to that point, nobody was caring about Jim Lee on Punisher and Alpha Flight, so he took over X-Men. So so don't put yourself down, man.
No. Well,
I'm with you on this. I got your back, Jack.
No. Well, you made the point. I was going to make that you don't become those kind of guys without, and also you can't, I think, and this is also like a theme of the book, is like some people function best when the deck is stacked, as well. So it's like you need these people that are like, in my opinion, intellectually lazy, potentially actually lazy, that their only argument, I feel like some people have arguments that they just heard and they like the cadence of it, but they didn't think through the logistics. Real quick tangent. One of my favorite movies is Infinity War. And one of the critiques of Infinity War is that it doesn't stand on its own. And it's like, so I guess Empire Strikes Back isn't a good movie. Like, Return of the King isn't a good movie. Like, there's a lot of great movies that don't. Also, it's 2023, or this is 2020, like 18. And it's like, you can watch these movies. Like, it's never been easier to consume content. And then Marvel goes and makes a movie as if you could watch all these movies in a day, which you could. And then people are dinging it for being forward thinking. And that's just an example. Somebody told me like, oh yeah, because you need to watch other movies to understand it. So I guess Godfather 2 sucks. Like, I don't know. It's such a bad argument.
No,
but,
yeah. And it's funny because I think that's the success, isn't it? That's the success of the Marvel movies. Whereas DC haven't managed to do that, kind of have that, I suppose, interconnectivity, and you have to. It's like every time you watch a new DC movie, you've got to kind of park your brain and think, "Oh, hold on, we're restarting again. All right, yeah, okay, right." Every time I watch, the first time I went to see the Batman, the Robert Pattinson Batman with my wife, she looked at me and went, "So is this after Christian Bale or before Christian Bale?" I was like, "It's got absolutely nothing to do with Christian Bale. Not a thing." Mind you, she says that about Star Wars. Every time I put Star Wars on, she says, "Is this the one with the teddy bears in?" And we never watched the one with the teddy bears in.
Fair enough. But yeah, that was a bit of a tangent. But I think that's what I mean. That there's a scene where somebody like goes up to him and is like, "Yo, buy me a Coke or buy me a soda." Like,
go get me a soda from the machine. Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm not doing this. Like, hazing never made sense. Like, they have in a football where the rookies buy everybody lunch. It's like, what are you talking? Like, I what are you talking about? I'm getting paid the least out of everybody, and I gotta pay y'all to eat. It doesn't make any sense. So no, I mean, it is not. I'm realizing now it's more and more of a stand-in for how I feel about certain things, and I think like I'm not as good of shape as Domino, but I can't wait to bring that brashness and for him to leverage the hate that he gets into opportunities, which is like something that I've had to do many a times,
Cool. Right. Before we have a look at more of the book and some more of the characters, time for a quick advert for one of our other shows. See, I don't know where to go. Should we go? You mentioned manga, so K-pop maybe. Should we have some K-pop?
Let's do
Why
it.
not? K-pop. It's K-pop Cosmos. Go K-pop Cosmos. Once a month, knock yourselves out. I unfortunately, I don't know, I might be the wrong person. When they said they put that advert together and talk about K-pop, they promised me fishnets. There's no fishnets there. I'm very disappointed. You know, but hey, what can I say? All right, back to the book. Tag or Die.
Yeah.
Who is this fetching young lady?
That is Iris, and this is exciting because I haven't really got a chance to talk about her much. She is
Hottie
like
totties.
she's like the fun chick. She's like really laid back, like beautiful, obviously, and she's like he's like super serious and super like driven, like almost obsessive with being great, and she kind of plays off of him and gets him lighten up. She's also the commissioner's niece. So that's going to be revealed. You see them talking, but that's going to be revealed. Like it's going to be doubled down on in the sequel. So she's kind of got like she's kind of got leverage, and she's on Domino's side. They obviously have chemistry. So it's an interesting dynamic and an interesting spot she's in.
Interesting. So this kind of again builds into those familiar tropes that we see in wrestling, where like, you know, Stephanie McMahon and Vince McMahon, and she's dating this wrestler and so on and so forth. But obviously, your take on that, it's interesting. Where is there any particular? You mentioned that Primetime was the kind of inspiration. Domino-wise, is there a female inspiration for Iris?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like all the women in my life that I think are like really cool, you know, that are just like really fun and really smart and really beautiful, you know. I it sounds corny, but
no, can I have their number? Just don't tell my wife.
No. No, but it's
some
she's
people
more
like
like
British guys, you know. Some people like my accent. It's the thing.
Some people. No.
Because I'm old. It's because I'm old, isn't it? Oh.
No, she's supposed to just be like the cool friend, basically.
Yeah.
And that dynamic is going to change and get tested as well. So she's not just it's wrestling, and this is actually my first book that I'm having that has sex appeal, and I think it fits for the story.
Yeah, but that's a fair shout. Actually, there is I'm not going to say gratuitous because it's not, because it's part of the story, but there is a level of sex in here that I'm going to be. I'll be honest with you, Anthony, because I've seen your work before with Decay. It kind of, I was like, whoa, what's this? Where'd this come from?
That's
you know?
Right. Yeah.
I was like, what? So was that? How difficult was it to think, well, you know what, I need to change up a little bit and go a little bit more risque with some aspects of the story?
I mean, for me it was I've been doing like kind of cerebral think pieces, and I wanted to lay up, man. I wanted something that was a layup, but like I said, also I think like sex appeal can be used effectively. Like I also thought of it like The Sopranos has sex, you know, like Game of Thrones has sex, you know, like I would say Great Thrones has gratuitous sex, you know. A lot of these prestige shows and a lot of these prestige pieces of fiction have sex because sex is a motivator. You know, I think it's like one of the like most like important factors to a person, you know, depending, but you know, like food, water, you know, sex, romance, companionship, etc.
It's up there. We're talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There you go. Check it out.
I think so. I think that might be what I referenced. But like, so it made sense in it with it being wrestling, but also what I wanted to do was make sure that we're showing the guys, being attracted to, you know, like, so it's equal opportunity essentially. Nobody's being exploited. It's both sides. I think it's you're still seeing things through the prism of being a straight man. You know, and I don't know about Emilio's orientation, but it's potential that he as well is a straight man. So it's like there's still going to be a bias. You're still going to show, you know, and I'm trying to correct. It's funny. There's a page that posts a bunch of like really hot guys that I've been looking at for research.
Okay, whatevs.
but seriously, because you need to see how you've been seeing women be framed a specific way.
Yeah.
Sports Illustrated, you know, all this stuff. So you kind of have to like reframe thinking.
Version.
So
yeah,
it wasn't something that I just did haphazardly. I think there's one sex scene, or like there's one sex scene in the book. There's like some flirtiness, but I don't think I think it serves the story. I think it serves the characters, and I don't think it distracts from the overall story.
All right, so I've read the book, and I can quite honestly say it doesn't distract from the story at all. It feels like a natural progression for these two characters, and I'm very much of the opinion the whole thing's consensual. She gets what she wants, he gets what he wants, and that's the kind of thing. And they actually make, it makes their connection better than just wrestling buddies. So that's
true.
Cool. It's interesting. I also agree with you wholeheartedly that women are framed a certain way in media, and this is what bugs me, or one of the things that bugs me the most, is that. So we saw the picture of Iris there, and there'll be somebody somewhere on the internet complaining about how she's curvy and she's this and she's in a leotard and wrestling gear and stuff like that. Which is right, because she's a wrestler and that's what happens. But yet no one complains about a Nicki Minaj video or Megan Thee Stallion video or a Beyonce video where they're half naked dancing around doing whatever it is they're doing. And it bugs the hell out of me, because I think to myself, if you want to, no disrespect to any comic book creator out there, and this is anybody, all right, I guarantee you more eyes are watching Megan Thee Stallion than are looking at your comic book. And yet nobody bats an eyelid at what she's wearing or what she's doing or what she's saying.
I mean, it's a fair point. Yeah, it's like a bigger microscope. I think it's because if you like culturally, I do think comics have been exploitative or what have you. But I agree with you. I think the problem you might be overcorrecting, where like people like to be sexy. You know what I'm saying? People want, like, people enjoy sex. They enjoy sex appeal. So. We don't, again, as long as it's respectful, as long as it's tasteful, but what happens sometimes is you post a cover and people, like a sexy cover, and people are like, this is bad. But and also, I know I was joking earlier, I'm actually doing a male nude cover for the next book, because again, I want it to be fair, so I'm having my friend Richard Fairgray draw. It's going to be wild. It's going to
watch out for the rope burn. That's all I'm going to say.
It's gonna have all kinds of genitalia, like, and I think it's just fair. So I think what I would do if I was concerned about something like that for somebody, I would just ask, like, okay, what motivated you to do this? Like, does this character have agency, etc., as opposed to just making a blanket statement that like nobody can ever be sexy in a work of fiction.
Good points. Let's have a quick look at the some art off the Kickstarter page. Love this panel. I think this panel, it screams Wolverine Origins a little bit, maybe, but it was
definitely manga inspired. I love when when a character, like somebody's in charge behind them and they're kind of like they kind of know, but they don't really, like, it's that in between. It's beautiful.
That really works. That's really perfect. And then you've got some more manga influenced motion there.
Berserk.
Yeah, spot on. Like that a lot. It's a Kickstarter, so let's have a look. We've refreshed this page, so let's have a quick see where we're at currently. 2.4. So you've gone up another $20 or so. So you're now $3,074. Well done.
Yeah.
Another backer. Excellent. So we have make a pledge without reward, just back it because you want to. Then you've got your PDFs. I have to say, and I say this to everybody who does a PDF, I applaud anyone who puts a PDF together. I personally prefer the comic to the hard copy. Yeah, I do. It's just it's the old timer in me. But that said, when it comes to Kickstarting, I'm more than happy to shed like the $5 or the $10 to pledge your book, but then it has to cost me $25 to get it shipped over. That's when it becomes a little bit prohibitive.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so I think getting a PDF version of a book is, for me, internationally, it's got to be the way to go. So thank you for keeping that in there. I like that. So there you go. For $10, you get the deluxe with some extra bonus pages in there. Cool. You get your physical copy for 15. Ships anywhere in the world. Does that mean you've got sites all over the world that are able to ship that, or do you ship direct from the States?
I ship from the States. I'm just praying nobody orders a comic book from like Antarctica or something, you know. Like,
yeah, cool. There you go. $15 get you a Fire Ant bundle. Is that those you to care is there as well? Excellent.
Yeah, so that's every book I've made, and this is why I was saying earlier about trying to get that catalog so that when I get I got 3 new people in there, and they're you know, they're buying all my old books, which is nice.
Cool, excellent. Hug or Die. Sorry, Hug or Die. Tap or Die Bear Hug cover. I like that one for $20. Iris Witwoo, $20. How's no one backing that? Are they insane?
Well, we do. I think so. This is interesting because you have the other cover that's like a little bit more explicit.
Oh, yeah.
This one is. So I think it's like if you're gonna buy something in that area, I guess maybe you would just buy this one. Nobody's bought this one but also you'll see that a lot of I have a bundle with all the covers, and a lot of those are selling. Like I'm scrolling with you, so I sold like 11 bundles or 14. Yeah. So I sold 14 copies of it so far.
That's a prime example of what you're saying. You've got 4 backers for the Not Suitable for Work one. So that's impressive. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Have you thought about what's next? Are we from when you hit your targets and you get extra stuff? What sort of things are we getting for our extra money?
It's so exclusive. I haven't even thought about it. It'll be something cool, man. Maybe I'll throw in some more pages.
Iris's phone number. Yeah. Skype address. One of those two. Yeah, maybe it was a word.
Oh, you're crazy, man.
Yes, I am. Excellent. Anthony, it's been fantastic speaking to you. The book looks great. I love when guys come on the second time or the third time, because it's like I can see the development from Decay and the horror vibe you were going for, and now you've changed it, a more personal story. It's about you, but under the guise of wrestling and the kind of dealings that Domino has to go through. I absolutely tip my hat, sir. I am absolutely well impressed. Thank you so much. What a great book. If anybody is intrigued, check it out. The Kickstarter is there. Drop an elbow. Drop a dime. Dead easy to find. Yes, I know. Kickstarter addresses are funky as. But if you just put Tap or Die in a Kickstarter address, guess what's going to happen? It'll come up. You guys know how to use a search engine.
You can also Google Tap or Die comic book, and it'll come up.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
It's a great name.
Yeah, it is. Tap or Die. To keep in touch with Anthony on social media, he is a bit of a social media persona, professional. I could have said something else there, but I'm not going to.
No,
yeah. So you got your Instagram, and if you're an oldie like me, you've got Twitter. There you go. Cool. Anthony and I follow each other, and he says a lot more cool, interesting things than I ever do. Just saying. But that's cool. You do. It's cool.
I can't follow no with that,
man. Right, there you go. Anthony, it's been fantastic. Absolutely well done. Thank you for your time. I know you must be really busy with the Kickstarter being just a day old, and you're almost hit your target, so you can put your feet up and just relax for the next 25 days or so. It's fine. All right.
Thank you for having me.
And yeah, more than welcome. Anytime, sir. Door's always open for you. Just drop me a note and you can always be on any time.
Thank you. Sure.
Don't forget to check out the UCPM for all your favorite shows. You saw the trailer for it earlier, the K-pop Cosmos. And if you're like me and you like your comics of a certain vintage, don't forget to check out the Old Timers Comic Book Show. Next one up will be a 1989 special in favor of the old Batman coming back in the Flash movie. There you go. What more do you want? Hopefully we'll get more views watching that than they get watching the Flash movie, but who? Don't say anything. All right. Anthony, one last time, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you again for having me.
Oh, no problem. I have been your host, John Machine Hughes, and as always, adios.
Visit undercovercapes.com for the latest and greatest podcasts via the Undercover Capes Podcast Network. Also visit our parent company website, comiccrusaders.com, all about comic pop culture.